I always remind myself that Armstrong, you got to do this, you got to make some change. And this motivation was so strong that nothing could stop me. He asked me, Armstrong, why do you want to be in the IAS? Why do you want to write this civil service? I told him very clearly, sir, I want to be in the IAS not only for myself. It's not that I want to become an IAS for myself, but people needs me to be in the IAS, or people needs me to become a civil servant. And this very moment, there are at least 2 to 4 lakh people praying for me that I get through this interview. Be all you can be so that you help others to be all that they can be. This has been my motto. This has been a line that has kept me inspired to keep walking this road thus far, to live to the maximum potential that I am blessed with, so that I can also reach out to more people so that they achieve the maximum potential that they are blessed with. This evening, I want to share with you the story of my life. I am Armstrong Pame, the IAS officer of 2009 batch, blessed to be in my home cadre, Manipur. And here is how my journey goes. Growing up as a village boy from a remote corner, born in a village called Impa, which lies at the tri-junction of Assam, Manipur, and Nagaland, which lies about 55 kilometers away from the district headquarters of Tamenglong in Manipur. It still takes more than 5 hours to travel these 50 kilometers from the district headquarters. Born to a family of 7 children, my dad was barely class 8 pass, became a primary school teacher, but a full-time carpenter. Born to a mother who has never gone to any school in her life, but barely being able to read my local Jami dialect to be able to read the songbook and the Bible. The life story begins like this. Way back in 1989, my family moved down to the district headquarters to find better life, especially for the education purpose. I, as the 5th child, started my schooling very late, only at the age of 6 when we moved down to the district headquarters. However, when I started my schooling, I studied pretty fast. The teachers were saying that you do not have to study more than 3 months in certain classes. I remember particularly in my 3rd standard, I studied for 3 months. The principal promoted me to 4th standard. Then I studied 5th standard. After I passed the final exam of the 5th standard, the principal told me you do not have to study 6th class. So I went to class 7, and that's how I was able to write my class 10 exam at the appropriate age. Then I went to Shillong for my higher secondary school. After passing out, my only ambition was to get into St. Stephen's College, and that's how I got admitted for physics honors at St. Stephen's College. And after I graduated, my only ambition was very clear. Right from the time when I was in my 3rd standard, I wanted to write civil service, and I wanted to become a district collector of my district. I was very clear, even as a young boy, I wanted to bring certain changes. I have seen enough of pain and struggles that people in my area goes through every now and then. As a kid who used to walk from my village till the district headquarters for every vacations or for any occasions, as and when we had to travel, be it for health purpose or be it for education purpose. I remember we used to walk continuously for 2 days on foot with a swollen leg. I remember as a kid you were not able to cover the journey, so you used to sleep over in a village that comes in between. I have seen people carrying over 50 kilos of weight, carrying cane and bamboo, just carrying it on their back and selling it to support the children of their education, children's education. Having come from all of this difficulties background, I was very sure that Armstrong, if you can be a part of solution to all of these problems that people face every single day, this becoming a civil servant is one of the best possible solution. I grew up watching them. I grew up as someone, who is inspired to bring changes in our society. And that is why, since I remember, as far as I can remember, right from the time I was in 3rd standard, I wanted to be an IAS officer. And that is how, right after my graduation, I decided to start writing the civil service. And I got into the Indian Revenue Service in my 2nd attempt. And in 2009, May, I got into the Indian Administrative Service. The most satisfying thing was, I remember I was in Mumbai on the day the result was declared. A friend of mine called me up, said, "Buddy, the results are out and you have made it to the IAS." I immediately stopped the car, went into the cyber cafe in Mumbai, checked the result, took out my phone. The first person I called up was my father. I told him, in fact, I could not get to talk to my father because we did not have even the landline phone. So I called up my sister, who happened to be in the market. I told her, "Do not say this to anyone, but our dad and mom should be the first people to hear this. Today, I have made it to the IAS. Please go and give the phone to dad." She ran down from the market to my house. 15 minutes later, I was talking to my dad. I was telling him, "Dad, from today onward, you do not have to struggle so much anymore." My dad is someone who would wake up at 3 a.m. in the morning, start working on his carpentry tools, and making all of those furnitures and others just to support us in our education. We both spoke, with tears and crying over the phone and telling him that, "Dad, finally I have become what you wanted me to become, what I wanted to become, so that I can bring certain changes to the lives of the people around us." So that's how difficult life was. I remember, if you have to talk about the struggles, I remember me and my elder brother Jeremiah, we stayed in Shillong while I was doing my class 11 and 12. My elder brother was doing his graduation. I was staying in a hostel. So during the puja break from October 1st to 15th, the hostel shut down. So students had to contribute, about 500 each for this 15 days mess contribution. I do not have that money. So I used to walk from the hostel to where my brother was staying in a rented accommodation for it's about 5 kilometers away from my hostel. I used to walk there just to have one meal a day. On the 3rd day, I went there. We cooked food together. I said, "If I take the food now, I'll be too hungry in the evening." So I packed the food, came back to my hostel room. I started studying again. At 11 o'clock in the night, I opened the tiffin and it was already smelling. That day, that night, I cried, I prayed to God, "God, there's no problem with me undergoing all of this pain and struggles. It only makes me stronger to be more determined. But if it be your will, let me not go through this pain again as I continue my studies." I made that prayer, and I thank God that from that day onward, after I came to Delhi, the struggle like this, I did not face that situation again. So right after my graduation from St. Stephen's College, I studied physics. I decided to start going for coaching classes. I joined in one of the coaching classes called ALS, and I started following up what I have to study and the rest of the journey. So this continued, and I wrote the exam. I gave my best I told myself, Armstrong, here you are. There is no other option for you. You just have to make it. I struggled quite a lot. I was so determined that I used to paste in a piece of paper, the first thing when I wake up in the morning, just in the wall facing me. When I wake up, I wrote them down. Armstrong, you have to make it. I wrote down a verse from the Bible. It says that you are called to be the light for those people in darkness, to open the eyes of those who are blind, to those people who are in prison and who needs you. I wrote down the words from Bible, from Isaiah. I always remind myself that, Armstrong, you got to do this. You got to make some change. And this motivation was so strong that nothing could stop me. Even while I was going to church, as I sit in the auto or rickshaw, I would be studying. As I go to the toilet, I will still be holding, some papers related to the exam. And that's how the motivation was so much. So to all those people who thinks that you want to write UPSC, the aspirants, first thing first, make sure why you want to be in the IAS or why you want to be a civil servant. This reason has to be so strongly defined. Then nothing can stop you. This exact question was asked again in my interview. As soon as I walked in, as a 24-year-old boy, those interviewers who are all in their 60s plus, so well experienced. So the chairman asked me, my board chairman was a scientist. He asked me, Armstrong, why do you want to be in the IAS? Why do you want to write this civil service? I told him very clearly, sir, I want to be in the IAS not only for myself. It's not that I want to become an IAS for myself, but people needs me to be in the IAS, or people needs me to become a civil servant. And this very moment, there are at least 2 to 4 lakh people praying for me that I get through this interview. I get to do well in this interview. They're waiting to hear this good news. The chairman was shocked and surprised. Wow, how will you work for your people if you are posted, say, in Tamil Nadu? And I told him this answer. Sir, irrespective of your color, caste, sex, and race, the pain of poverty, hunger, and thirst is the same. If you're hungry, means you're hungry. It doesn't matter where you're from. And that's how my answer was, I think, quite convincing to the chairman. The chairman became very protective of me. He was defending me in many other questions that came up later. And I'm glad to tell you that my interview mark was 225 on 300. And that's why I'm here today. And after I became a civil servant, after I got allotted to my state cadre in Manipur, I am truly blessed that I've been able to solve certain problems which I believe I was given the right place, the right posting to work together with right set of people. And that's where the story of the People's Road came about. In 2012, June, as I got posted there as a subdivisional magistrate of Tausem subdivision, I knew the area so well because I have walked on foot to almost every villages. I know the people because they have been praying for me. There were lots of people who supported me in the process of my education. Now when I called together for a meeting, I asked them, what should we do? They said, sir, give us this road. The road from the district headquarters to our subdivisional headquarters. This road has never been complete for the last 30 years. And then there is another highway coming from Nagaland and going to Assam. It's so near, about 30 kilometers, but there is no road. Why don't we link up all of this road and our lives will be easier? Then I said, okay, how do we go about? I went to my higher authorities and started understanding how to get this road done. But Manipur being a resource deficit state, you just cannot have thousands of crores immediately. So they told me the process that you first have to make the DPR, you have to send your proposal to the government of India in New Delhi, and only if they approve, you will get this sanction. I could have just left it behind. Oh, I'm so sorry, I cannot do anything because it's beyond my capacity. However, I did not stop at that. I went back to the people, sat down together with them. So this is the situation. What should we do? One 92-year-old man stood up and said, "Sir, I'm going to give you my 5 months salary." I asked, "Wow, are you employed? How?" He said, "I get 200 rupees per month from the old age pension of the government. I'm going to give you 1,000 rupees, my 5 months salary." That was a big challenge. And that is how I said, okay, I have some savings from my previous service, maybe about 5-6 lakhs. All my siblings are working. Even my mom gets a monthly pension of 5,000 rupees. And that's how we came together to contribute whatever we can. Many of the villagers started standing up one by one. And I remember specifically one widow standing up and saying, "Sir, I'm going to make sure that I supply all the firewood that is required to cook for the workers." Some youths stood up and said, "Sir, we're going to do fishing in this river so that, the workers get good food to eat." Many of the youths, the elders, they stood up and said, "We will walk, we will work from sunshine till sunset. You do not have to pay us." And that was how we were able to start. And then so we started somewhere in the month of August, and then after 8 months, we were able to finally see this road happening. On 17th of February 2013, we celebrated this People's Road completion, linking my district headquarters with my subdivisional headquarters, then to one highway coming from Nagaland and going to Assam. And this came to be known as the People's Road, since we were promoting and highlighting whatever we were doing on Facebook. This got the attention of Facebook officials, including Sheryl Sandberg, Mark Zuckerberg. They sent 3 people to film the entire events that's happening. They came and stayed in that village for about a week to film the entire event. And that's how we celebrated together this People's Road. It was amazingly successful road. People from over 25 countries participated in a form of cash and kinds. And the best news today, is this. This road, after I came back as a district magistrate in 2017-18, we started running around to make this as a national highway. And I'm happy to tell you that you have the newest national highway in the country, National Highway 137. Today, road construction is going on full swing. The government has given about 3,000 crores. And you know what I told my villagers? With this road, you will just have to sit outside your house, bus stand outside your house, take a bus, go to Singapore. After a week, you can come back. The same bus will drop you outside your house in the bus stand. That is how we were able to convince. And that is how the road is happening. So, folks, if you want to be writing this exam and to do well, first define the reason why you want to be in the IAS. So, the purpose of me wanting to be in the IAS was very clear that nothing could stop me. The determination was so much. I have been given so much more opportunities, and I'm glad that this has been able to inspire many more people to do even better than what I have done.
हेलो एस्पिरेंट्स, हम में से बहुतों का सपना है IAS ऑफिसर बनना, लेकिन ये जर्नी बहुत महंगी है और इसीलिए बहुत एस्पिरेंट्स ने रिक्वेस्ट किया कि क्या जोश टॉक्स एस्पिरेंट को हेल्प कर सकता है फाइनेंशियली उनकी जर्नी में। तो इसीलिए जोश टॉक्स ने कांटेक्ट किया MK यादव सर को। MK यादव सर दिल्ली के UPSC के बहुत ही फेमस टीचर हैं। उनकी एक सिलेक्टेड स्टूडेंट रितिका मैम ने UPSC 2018 में AIR 88 पाया। उन्होंने एक जोश टॉक्स भी दी। उनके और भी कई सारे स्टूडेंट्स हैं जिन्होंने जोश टॉक्स दी हैं जो कुछ ही टाइम में रिलीज हो जाएंगी। तो हमने एम के यादव सर को कांटेक्ट किया और रिक्वेस्ट किया कि क्या जोश की फैमिली के लिए वो एक बड़ा डिस्काउंट दे सकते हैं, क्योंकि अभी प्रीलिम्स 2023 भी आने वाला है। मुझे बहुत ही खुशी है कि सर ने जोश की फैमिली को इसमें सपोर्ट किया है। जो क्रैश कोर्स सर 14,500 का दे रहे थे, वो जोश फैमिली के लिए 11,600 का है। तो हम में से कोई भी अगर प्रीलिम्स का क्रैश कोर्स करना चाहता है तो डिस्क्रिप्शन और पिन्ड कमेंट में एक फॉर्म दिया गया है। इस क्रैश कोर्स की डिटेल्ड वीडियो नीचे डिस्क्रिप्शन में दी गई है। जोश फैमिली का ये डिस्काउंट पाने के लिए हम इस गूगल फॉर्म को फिल कर सकते हैं और डिटेल्स के लिए वीडियो देख सकते हैं। एम के यादव सर इंग्लिश मीडियम के टीचर हैं, तो हो सकता है कि हम में से बहुत स्टूडेंट्स जो हिंदी मीडियम से हैं उन्हें हेल्प ना मिल पाए। हम हिंदी मीडियम के बहुत से टीचर्स को रीच आउट करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं और रिक्वेस्ट कर रहे हैं कि अगर वो जोश की फैमिली के लिए एक स्पेशल डिस्काउंट दे पाएं, ताकि हम सब अपना आईएएस बनने का सपना पूरा कर पाए और हमें बेस्ट क्वालिटी एजुकेशन भी मिल पाए। तो अगर आप किसी भी हिंदी मीडियम कोचिंग को जानते हैं जहां आप जाना चाहते हैं लेकिन फाइनेंशियल कंडीशंस की वजह से नहीं जा पा रहे, तो प्लीज उसे नीचे कमेंट सेक्शन में लिख के हमें बताइए। जोश कोशिश करेगा कि उन कोचिंग्स को भी रिक्वेस्ट करे, लेकिन अभी के लिए अगर हम इंग्लिश मीडियम के स्टूडेंट्स हैं और एम के यादव सर से पढ़ना चाहते हैं 2023 के क्रैश कोर्स के लिए या 2024 के फाउंडेशन बैच के लिए, तो प्लीज नीचे दिए गए फॉर्म को भरें और एम के यादव सर की टीम से आपको कोई इस कोर्स को एक्सप्लेन करने के लिए कांटेक्ट करेगा। तो चलो साथ में आगे बढ़े।